Entering the global reset. Imagine waking up to a world that feels familiar yet unrecognizable. The money you use is digital. Cities are smarter but monitored. Work has changed, ecosystems are fragile, and global power balances are shifting at lightning speed. Welcome to the global reset, an unprecedented transformation shaping economics, politics, technology, environment, and society itself. Some call it humanity's greatest opportunity, a chance to build a fairer, cleaner, more resilient world. Others warn of a covert takeover, centralized control, surveillance, and loss of freedoms hidden behind promises of progress. In this series, we explore how global debt, digital currencies, and economic restructuring are redefining wealth and power. How political realignment and elite influence are reshaping sovereignty and governance. How environmental challenges are driving innovation and sometimes control. How technology and AI are changing how we work, live, and interact. The clash between supporters and critics, trust and distrust, freedom and control. Possible futures: utopia, dystopia, or a hybrid world. How individuals, businesses, and nations can navigate and thrive in this new era. This is more than a theory. The global reset is happening right now, and understanding it is no longer optional, it is essential. Are you ready to see the forces reshaping your world? Understanding the concept. The term global reset often refers to large-scale systemic changes in the way economies, governments, and societies operate, usually in response to crises or shifting global dynamics. It is not a single event but rather a collection of ideas, proposals, and transformations aimed at restructuring how the world manages its resources, policies, and future. Depending on the context, it may be viewed as either an opportunity for positive transformation or a controversial agenda. 1. Origins and meaning. The idea of a global reset has gained attention particularly through forums like the World Economic Forum, WEF, where leaders discuss how the world should reset after major disruptions such as financial crises, pandemics, or climate change. At its core, it suggests rethinking existing systems, from finance to energy to governance, to make them more resilient, sustainable, and equitable. 2. Economic dimensions. Official perspective. Debt restructuring. Many nations face unsustainable debt levels. Advocates propose restructuring or even forgiving debts to allow for economic stability. Digital currencies, CBDCs, central bank digital currencies could replace or complement cash, making transactions faster and reducing fraud. Wealth redistribution. Proposals for higher corporate taxes, closing tax havens, and more inclusive growth models. Resilient supply chains. Moving from overdependence on globalization toward regional hubs for critical goods like medicine, semiconductors, and energy. Critical perspective. Debt. Slavery. Critics argue resets could trap developing countries into deeper dependence on global financial institutions. CBDCs as control tools. Digital currencies may allow governments to monitor and restrict spending, e.g., limiting purchases, freezing accounts. Hidden wealth transfer. Some argue resets often benefit large corporations and elites, while the poor shoulder the burden. Deglobalization risks. Shifts in supply chains may trigger trade wars and higher costs for consumers. 3. Political and geopolitical dimensions. Official perspective. Global governance. Stronger cooperation via the UN, IMF, WHO, and WEF to tackle global problems collectively. Power balancing. More inclusive structures where developing nations gain stronger representation. Crisis preparedness. Joint frameworks for handling pandemics, cyber attacks, and climate disasters. Critical perspective. Loss of sovereignty. Critics fear that nations would lose decision-making power to unelected global bodies. Elite centralization. Power might consolidate in the hands of political and financial elites, the so-called Davos Group. Two-speed world. The reset may deepen divides between nations that align with global governance and those resisting it, fueling conflict. 4. Environmental and sustainability goals. Official perspective. Green transition. Moving to renewable energy, electric vehicles, and carbon-neutral industries. Global standards. Coordinated environmental policies, such as carbon taxes and emission targets. Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, embedding climate goals into every sector of the economy. Critical perspective: energy poverty. Rapid green transitions could hurt developing nations reliant on cheap fossil fuels. Greenwashing. Some critics say sustainability is often a PR cover while corporations continue harmful practices. Climate as control lever. Mandatory green policies, carbon tracking apps, limits on consumption could restrict personal freedom. 5. Technological and social aspects. Official perspective: digital innovation, AI, blockchain, and automation to drive productivity. Inclusive technology. Bridging the digital divide with universal internet and affordable devices. Future of work. Reskilling workers for digital economies. Healthcare transformation. Telemedicine, biotech, and global health networks. Critical perspective: surveillance society. Expanded use of digital IDs, biometric tracking, and monitoring of citizens. Job displacement. AI and automation may eliminate millions of jobs without adequate reskilling. Loss of privacy. Data ownership concerns as corporations and states collect massive personal information. Tech monopoly. Big tech corporations consolidating control over communication, commerce, and even governance. 6. Supporters versus critics. Supporters see the global reset as a necessary modernization of outdated systems to ensure a fairer, greener, and more resilient world. Critics fear it could be a pretext for centralized control, reducing freedoms, and enforcing uniform policies that do not fit every nation or culture. Some conspiracy theories even link it to dystopian, one-world government agendas. 7. Real-world triggers of a reset. Financial crises, 2008, future collapses, right-pointing arrow exposed fragility of global banking. COVID-19 pandemic, 2020, right-pointing arrow showed the world can shut down overnight, requiring coordinated global responses. Climate change, ongoing, right-pointing arrow demands urgent restructuring of energy and consumption. AI and technology, 2020s to 2030s, right-pointing arrow accelerating changes to work, governance, and security. 8. Possible outcomes of a global reset. Optimistic scenario: sustainable global economy with reduced inequality. Resilient global governance balancing national sovereignty with cooperation. Cleaner environment, safer climate. Tech enhancing human progress while protecting rights. Pessimistic scenario: global surveillance and control through digital currencies and IDs. Concentration of wealth and power in global elites. Environmental restrictions limiting freedoms, carbon quotas, on individual lifestyles. Permanent reduction in sovereignty, leading to unrest and conflict. Potential erosion of national sovereignty and personal freedoms if mismanaged. The global reset is not a distant idea, it is unfolding before our eyes, touching every aspect of life: economics, politics, technology, society, and the environment. It represents both unprecedented opportunity and profound risk. The path forward depends on choices and engagement. Individuals must stay informed, adapt skills, protect privacy, and embrace sustainability. Businesses must innovate ethically, balance profit with responsibility, and navigate technological and regulatory shifts. Nations must pursue cooperation without sacrificing sovereignty, build resilient systems, and empower citizens. The reset presents three potential futures: utopian, where fairness, sustainability, and innovation converge to create a thriving world; dystopian, where control, surveillance, and inequality dominate daily life; hybrid, a patchwork of progress and restriction, shaped by negotiation, resistance, and compromise. Ultimately, the global reset is a mirror of human choices. It asks, will we seize it as an opportunity for collective growth, or allow it to concentrate power and erode freedom? Awareness, adaptability, and action are the keys to thriving in this new era. The reset is not coming, it is here. The question is, how will you navigate it?